We're living in a digital world where classrooms have screens and endless possibilities. Just a click away to fuel our dreams.
Welcome to the Integrate This EdTech podcast, the essential podcast for educators and tech enthusiasts. I'm Jeremy Mikla, and I am joined by David Berner, your guides to the intersection of technology and education. As we explore the latest in EdTech tips, tools, and trends, join us in creating dynamic tech-forward classrooms. Are you ready for today's digital learning adventure? Well, let's dive in. David, why don't you let our viewers know and our listeners what we have on tap for today's episode?
Today we are going to showcase Magic School 3.0 Part 1. Magic School is an increasingly popular AI tool for educators, and in Part 1, Jeremy and I will show you how to navigate the menu, modify settings. We'll cover Raina the Chatbot, filters, output history, and the Chrome extension.
When you go to the Magic School URL and you find the website, find the sign up free button, and we're going to choose that to get our account started here with Magic School. You could choose, of course, to enter in your email password, as well as the single sign-ons with Google and Microsoft are also available. I'm going to choose the Google one and log in with this email to create the new account. And as you can see, it might take a moment here, but it's going to create this account. It'll give you the opportunity to upload an image. So I can go and I can select an image from a file that I have somewhere on my desktop. And maybe I will choose this one because it makes me look bald, but yet kind of strikingly handsome. Not bad. And then type in information with things such as your name, the email address, what your role is within your school. If you're a teacher, that's great. If you're an instructional coach, you can enter that as well. You'll enter in the different grade levels that you work with. You can even choose the different school and districts that you maybe belong to, and then some city, state information, and then you're going to choose to save your profile. And once you'll do that, you'll be able to access all of the tools and features that Magic School has to offer. All right, once you are logged into Magic School, you're going to see that there's different features that you can functions that you're able to utilize from the left-hand part of the screen. I will point out that down at the very, very bottom, there is a settings cog in which you can go and you can continue to update your profile settings or make changes there if you need to. You can also take the tour where it will lead you through a bit of a tutorial on where to find different things within Magic School. But the first feature that I wanted to point out to you is that of Raina, which I do have to say I love this name. My daughter's name happens to be Raina also. We spell it different. Hers is EI instead of AI. I get the AI component to it, but it still sounds the same. So every time that I hear that, I think of that. What Raina really is Raina is the Chat GPT feature that is built within Magic School. However, it's tailor-made to educational purposes and is going to interact with you kind of in that role as an educator and as a teacher. It will focus on kind of the best practices. It will use its trained data set that is based upon educational materials to kind of help you develop some of the best plans to help your instruction and to ultimately, of course, which is our goal, to increase the learning of students that are in our classes. So next I'm going to flip it over to David, and David is going to take us through where we find some of the tools and how to filter them, as well as get into how you can view some of your past search history within Magic School.
All right, so yeah, as Jeremy said, I'm going to just show when you're on the dashboard, there's a couple features that are worth pointing out. One of them being the filter tool. I would really encourage everybody to go through and check out all the different cards that they've got here that you can get started with. They start you off with just the ability to, like, if you want to get a lesson plan, right, you can click on that right away and they can start that process. But they do have a lot of different options in here that are worth exploring. And everybody that's in different disciplines, content areas, they're going to be maybe finding some of them more helpful than others, or more, in line with what their current position is. So they have the whole list here in the dashboard. One of the nice things about it is that if you find one that you really like, let's say that I want to use the IEP generator and I want to use it pretty consistently, they do have the favorite option here. So you can just hit the star. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to float it to the top. So any that are starred and the yellow is filled in, they're going to get prioritized to the top of the page. So, and you can always take those off if you want, but that's a really nice feature for those cards that you use really consistently. So, something like a lesson plan is going to get used a lot. Maybe the assessment options, you could find ones for multiple choice assessments like this one here. Favorite that, and again, it'll be put to the top. So one thing here too with the filters is, if you are looking for something specific or a category of something, they do have these cards that you can click on. So if I'm looking for something that, let's say it's going to be for planning, I can click planning, and it's going to filter out everything that isn't identified as a planning card, right? So my results get significantly decreased by choosing that filter. Same if I want to do, content or questions, it's going to change what's available based on that filter. The other thing I can do too is I could always search by text. So if I wanted to do lesson, it's going to just pull out that terminology, right, and filter based on that. So that's a nice feature, just to quickly get things filtered out. If you know that you're planning to go in a certain direction, again, we could try assessment, and we could see what's available and what cards are gonna come up when you filter that out. But again, I would really encourage you to look through all these. Favoriting is something that I like to do just for the ease of access up at the top, rather than scrolling through. That way I can go back to them quickly, whereas some of the ones below, I might not use that often. Outside of that, you do have where the nice thing about your interactions with any of these cards, when you click on, let's say, lesson plan, and you go through the process of having it generate something for you, what that's going to do, and we can just do exemplar for this one. When we hit generate, it's gonna go through the process of generating this task for you. So in this case, lesson plan, it could be any of those cards that we looked at. And it's going to, once you've had that interaction, it's going to put it into this output history here on the side. And so this is a log of all the different interactions that you've had with your Magic School account. And it's going to save them in this dashboard here. So you can kind of see some of the most recent ones. They did recently switch. So we're covering Magic School 3.0. So you can see there's a little bit of change that happened with this. Some of it stayed the same. Like your history filters are still at the top. So you can still search. Like if I wanted to search for, I do have a mitosis lesson there. So if I just type in mitosis, it's going to filter out just that. So that actually is really handy if you have a long stream of different lessons and you have several that are correlating to the same unit. So that way you can segment those out, and then you don't have all the other lessons that in not just lessons, but things that were created in your output history. This really filters all that out, so you can access it really easily. The other thing you can search by too is if you're looking for a lesson plan, you could click that, and it's going to filter anything that was created as a lesson plan card. If I wanted to switch over to like the multiple choice assessments, it's going to bring up my assessment there. And so these are, again, just quick ways to switch in and out. The date piece of the filter is handy as well, particularly if you, let's say, you use this tool the whole year. and next year you're coming back and you want to look for some of those same assessments or lesson plans, the ability to filter by year, or more specifically, say by quarter. So if you know that you taught mitosis in September of last year, you could always switch this out and you could pinpoint, I know that lesson was between September 4th and let's say September 20th, and it's going to filter that out. Now, I don't have any that are created in that time frame, but again, if you're looking further down the road and you want to come back to something, and if you're looking at, say, your unit planning that you've got, or your curriculum map, the ability to quickly come back to that based on date is there as well. Just below the search filters, you have a couple different tabs here. Obviously, everything is going to be listed that you've ever created within the system. You can edit if you want, just to change the name. So if, especially when you're generating these things, maybe you chose a name that made sense at the time, but you want to be able to switch this, and maybe it's more standards based. So maybe you have like your actual, standard in there. We can just make up one here, something like that. And you could put in other stuff too. So if you wanted to say it's for 9th grade science, life science, or whatever you want to do there, you can put that in, just hit the check mark or hit enter, and that's going to save the new name. So it's really nice. You can organize things that way right in this area. Secondly, it'll have when it was created. You'll have a saved section. So the bookmarks area, which is our second tab, that is actually going to pull in any that you've clicked here. So kind of like our favorites option in the Magic Tools dashboard where you have the star, this is going to have your bookmark icon. So if I want to save these, that's going to fill in with that gray. And then if I go to bookmarks, that 7th grade mitosis diagnostic assessment is going to be in that area. Right, so bookmarking ones that maybe you want to have focus more on, or you want to come back to consistently, you can always bookmark it and do it that way. Shared, you can click on shared. This is just in reference to whether it's publicly available or not. So you could always click share publicly, and that's going to change the icon. So you'll have a globe for whether that's public, or you're going to have a lock for when it's a private lesson. And so other people, within the Magic School dashboard, they can see if this is indicated as public, other users of Magic School will be able to see that. Another couple things here, you can always delete it if you don't want that anymore, if you didn't like, how, let's say you generated the lesson and you went through it with your students and you didn't really care for it. You could always just delete it from there. That way you're not, it's not taking up space in your dashboard. And that way you're not like going back to it when you don't really want to. Another one is preview. So that just pulls up a side menu here, or a sidebar. And this is going to just list out what is all involved in that particular lesson. Okay. And then this tab just got added in 3.0, so the resources tab. And what's nice about this is that you can actually, this pulls up here. You can take a look at the space in which that was created if you go back to thread. One thing that's really nice about this is when you're in a tool, and so let's say you don't have anything created yet. And if I go to, we're going to click on my lesson plan generator again, and we will just do exemplar one more time here. Okay. And we're going to generate this lesson. And then what it's going to do is on the right-hand side, you're going to notice that you have two options here. On the right side, you can copy it. You can paste it somewhere if you want to, like into a Word doc or whatever. But just below that, you have save resource. And then this is kind of nice because you can, where I would probably use this a lot is with assessments. If I had a multiple choice assessment, I can name this resource. So let's say we'll just call this we'll just call it the exact same thing here because we just want to see what it looks like. We'll hit save. And then when we go back to you saw the resource save there. If we go back to the output history and go to resources, you're going to see that it gets funneled into this area. And you can always go back into that thread if you want to. So this is the one we just did. I can click thread, and that's gonna bring us back to that same spot that we were in. And then you could always have, you know, follow-up conversations with Raina about the lesson. You know, there are additional prompts that you could ask as well. And so that's kind of covering the filter area, the output history, and some of the things that you can do to organize your space as you create more and more with the cards that they have available in Magic School. So Jeremy, I don't know what you think, but that's kind of a nice feature with that.
Yeah, I like some of the new I like some of the new additional things that they've really put into this 3.0 version that weren't necessarily there. You touched on one of the resources. I like that Raina is now available within all of the different tools. So if it generates that mitosis lesson plan that you had, but you want to add some clarification to it, or you really want to drill down on certain key points that you know as a teacher that you tend to focus on, or your students will be assessed on, right? And so you can really use that Raina, chatbot assistant to help you do some of those things. So I think that's kind of a neat little thing as well. Yeah, so I think you did a great job going over those different things that are there. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, and I was showing there kind of when you were talking about Raina being in the space as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a nice addition because I just asked it really something simple, which was the extension activity that it gave me in the initial breakdown of the lesson, and I just asked it for a different one, and Raina gave me a different extension activity that I can replace the with. So,
and you didn't have to leave that tool or that space to do that. Like you didn't have to go back to another one of those tabs, select it, or even go back into your output history to find what you had previously done. So that's a really neat ability that it's able to have. So David, one more question here. All of these things that you've shown us here, these different tools, the filters, and the way to move around the site here, what does a teacher, what does a school have to pay to access these different features?
Yeah, so that's the best part about it is it's completely free. So kind of like I always equate it to Canva for educators, right? Canva was great in offering educators their platform for free, and Magic School does the exact same thing. So, as we have done in previous videos, talked about Chat GPT, like 4.0, some of those things that you want to do, you have to pay for. And that's going to be the case with many AI tools. But Magic School, where it differs, is that it's free to teachers.
Yeah. Not to say that they won't eventually come out with some sort of paid or premium version, because I'm sure they're saying to themselves they've got to make money here somehow. But I do think that they're in it for the right purposes, and they're in it to help teachers, and they're in it to help students. So I think that there'll always be a pretty robust plan that you can still access for free. So the next feature here to show you with Magic School is that not only in addition is their platform that is built out online, there's also a Chrome extension available for Magic School. So to easily access that, if you don't already have it installed, is to use the link that you find within the settings cog and choose the Add Chrome extension. And it will open up the Chrome Web Store, and it will be able to give you this button that would say add to Chrome or install extension. Since I already have it, I'm not going to do that. I trust that you'll be able to add your own extensions and be able to pin them to the URL area where the extensions are located, and you'll be able to access that within the platform of Magic School. Now, what's the benefit of adding the extension to what we have going on. I'm just going to show you basically what it looks like. Not only will there be the extension icon that appears on the top, there's also a Magic School icon that is going to appear in the bottom right-hand part of a screen where you can access Magic School. And if I click on that, and if I sign in with my account that I'm using, it gives me this toolbar that opens up on the bottom, and it defaults to opening to Raina. So now I could ask a prompt of Raina from within here, or I can select a specific tool that I want to be able to use, whether it's accommodations or creating teacher jokes. You can choose from any of the tools that are available that David kind of highlighted a little bit earlier. And it is available all right within the document or the website that you're working with. So you don't have to go to a separate page. It will open it up and it will add it for you, which is a really nice feature that is also available, is to have that Chrome extension. Thanks for tuning into the Integrate This EdTech podcast. We hope you picked up some valuable insights for your instructional and classroom use today. Special thanks to David Berner and all of our listeners and viewers for joining us in our digital explorations. My name is Jeremy Mikla. Until next time, keep integrating, keep innovating, and keep shaping the future of education. Happy teaching, everyone.
And don't forget to subscribe to our Integrate This YouTube channel and join our socials for the latest tutorials and discussions in EdTech. Join us next week for Magic School 3.0 Part 2, where we discuss unpacking standards and generating lesson and unit plans for elementary and secondary students.